These people here are condemned to these kinds of conditions, at least for another year and probably longer, maybe 2 or 3 years, and that's totally inappropriate. You can't. It'll damage people. People will suffer, and we see that.
Suffering because of living conditions some are calling deplorable, in some cases worse than third world countries. Living conditions that were recorded by Paul Salvatore, a photojournalist. He says he's never seen anything like this during his entire career.
You're surrounded by a sea of people who are suffering, who are sick. Some people, to be frank, some people sound like they're dying. There was one gentleman I passed who was coughing and barely had like a breath between each cough.
He managed to get in, no questions asked, and wasn't too sure what he'd discover. He says this experience changed his life.
I mean, it's ironic. The Better Living Center growing up here was just a showroom to see better living. Now it's being used to shelter those most in need, and it's not being done in a way at all that we can describe as, never mind better living, but just decent living.
City staff have confirmed that the 2018 budget, set to be approved next week, has the capital and operational funding to open 361 new shelter beds and is committed to having a total of 1,000 beds over the next 3 years. Advocates say they need those numbers now, and those who are staying at these shelters say all they want is more space and better living conditions. Tara and Brian are staying at the Better Living Center. Tara is 8 months pregnant and says despite their efforts, they can't seem to get priority housing or move elsewhere.
Constantly have to worry about somebody falling on me, hitting my stomach, and even the needles that are left around. I have to worry about stepping on them and getting AIDS, Hep C, whatever.
Have you spoke to staff? Have you?
Yes, yeah.
What do they say?
So much about.
Yeah, they're trying to get us like another shelter that's more suitable for us.
Okay, so how about a cover pickup?
After hearing their story during our interview, Hiru decided he was going to step in and get them to another shelter, especially after hearing a fight broke out earlier that morning. Witnesses say it was a scary scene because of the tension and overcrowding. Even the cops were called in. In the meantime, we went to go see Councillor Wong Tam to show her some of these images and share some of these stories.
So yeah, no, it doesn't make me feel good. It actually makes me feel somewhat ashamed that we could do better. And these are not new conditions, but they have gotten a lot worse recently.
You know, does the city care when it comes to these shelters? Because if we know about these problems, why are we still seeing them?
I do think that the city cares, and I think that city staff are working really hard on the front lines. This is not an easy situation for them, but they're working with the resources that they have.
Now, advocates will be heading to City Hall Monday morning at 9 for a rally and to speak out about what some are calling a crisis. Around the same time, City Council will be discussing on the budget. Outside City Hall, I'm Nitish Bissonauth, City News.